Daggerfall! Hey everyone, Crawl Dragon here. It has been quite a while. Now, I promised, I think about 5 years ago on my channel, that I would do a quick playthrough of the first dungeon of Daggerfall. And I thought better late than never. So this is Daggerfall. I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to doing the Arena Let's Play again because I still like Arena. I still play it occasionally, but it's just repetitive. Um, Even more so than Daggerfall. So, we're going to go through the first dungeon here. So, start new game, and of course, just like in Arena, the first thing you do is select your home province to choose your race. Now, you still can't choose Imperials, of course, and you also can't choose Orcs for story-related reasons. So, now, unbelievably, the choice of race almost doesn't matter, because the races get various attribute bonuses, but the attribute bonuses are then overwritten by your class selection later. So it is almost completely arbitrary which class you pick. Now, normally, of course, I would pick Argonians, but as I said before, it almost doesn't matter what race you pick. There are two exceptions. The High Elves, I love that sound, who get an immunity to paralysis enchantment at the beginning of the game, which is incredibly useful, but we're not going to be choosing them. We're going to be choosing Nords. Because Nords get a resist frost ability, which is not as useful as immunity to paralysis, but if we then choose a Knight, Knights also get an immunity to paralysis. And there are other reasons why I'm choosing Knight. First of all, it's a fairly straightforward warrior class, but they also get boosts to etiquette, which means that certain character interactions will be easier later on. There are a few other reasons, but that's about those are the important ones anyway. And we're also going to be playing as a male character, not just because I myself am male, but also because, believe it or not, male characters are less nude than female characters. Mostly because they don't have visible genitalia, but also because male breasts are more acceptable on YouTube than female breasts. So we're going to go with that. Daggerfall is a fucking weird game, guys. Alright, so you can... Now, these are questionnaires. This questionnaire, rather, is commentary. Motherfucker. Okay, hang on. There we go. Alright. Up, down, up, down, up, down. So, these questionnaires are going to determine certain attributes about our character. And unlike the Choose Your Class questionnaires, which also appear in Arena, these are actually going to have a fairly significant impact on our character. So now this one is fairly straightforward. You're most fond of using blank. Now this one, of course, is going to give us a boost to our skills. So we're going to pick Longblade because what the hell else are you going to pick for a knight? And so what motivates you to a life of adventure? I don't know if this actually has any... Well, actually, no. I think it does. I believe the helping others effect has an increase on your reputation with commoners. So we're going to pick that. And again, this is just a boost to your skills. I'm going to go for critical striking. As a child, your nickname was, again, skills, Guppy. We're going to go for swimming. Swimming might seem like a counterintuitive choice because there aren't all that many bodies of water in Daggerfall. But what bodies of water there are incredibly irritating, which is why I'm going to go for the swimming attribute. You're alone and later allowed to keep a katana. Why the hell else would you pick any... Now, this is an interesting choice. What god, if any, do you worship? Now, if you pick none, you actually get a boost to your reputation with scholars, which includes the Mages Guild, which is actually slightly odd now that I think about it, because if anything, mages would have more interaction with gods than the average citizen. But whatever, we'll go for it. Now, any other choice will increase your reputation with that chosen god's temple, and having an increased reputation in a particular temple will give you certain bonuses. Now, I'm going to pick Akatosh, because the higher your ranking in Akatosh's temple, the less time that you spend fast traveling. So if you fast travel to a location, it'll take less time than if you weren't in Akatosh's temple to begin with. There are other bonuses, like you can get certain training, and also some temples will have shops that other temples don't. But for now, we're just going to stick with Akatosh. Alright, you have the most trouble... Ooh, okay, so some of these options don't actually come up all that often. Like, avoiding diseases, you'd be surprised how much you don't really deal with diseases in this game. Although, You know, if you play the long game, this might in the long term have a big negative impact. Do not choose staying awake and alert or resisting magic. You will regret it, I promise. We're going to go with resisting poisons. Because from what I understand, there aren't actually that many monsters that poison you, although I could be wrong about that. Since childhood you have saved, I'm going to go with a dozen arrows. You are friendlier than most with... Okay, so this is a weird one because this will increase one of your language skills. There are a bunch of different languages that your character can learn how to speak. Harpy, Dragonish, Daedric, Centaurian, Giantish, Nymph-ish, Spriggan, and Impish, and then there's another one which is Orcish, but you can't choose that in here for, I guess, story-related reasons. Now, what these language skills means is that if one of these monsters appears and you are within earshot of it, there is a chance, not a very high chance, but there is a chance that it will spawn non-hostile. I'm going to go with Dragonish, because dragons are actually fairly important to the Temple of Akatosh, which I chose earlier. Given 200 gold pieces as a reward, you decided to save it. We'll use that in the shops later. You don't really need to save that much gold, but since we're playing as a non-thief, I'm going to take any bonuses that I can get for now. You spend any free time you have training with. Let's go with archery. You're intimate friends with blank. I actually don't know if this has any impact on the game, but I'm going to go with rogue, because why the hell not? Name thyself. What's a good name for a Nordic knight? Rodney. Okay, choose thy face. Much like an arena. God, you remember back in the day when all you could really do was pick what face your character had and you didn't have a million sliders for everything? Those were good times. Alright, now, we get certain base attributes for our character. Like I said, the attribute bonuses that were supposed to be given to us for our race were overwritten by our class. So it doesn't really seem to matter. Although, having said that, I have noticed every time I pick a Nord Knight, I can't seem to keep my strength below 60. Anyway, so you get a base set of attributes, and then the game will roll the dice to give you some bonuses, and then we get points to spend. And you may notice that as I'm distributing these, I'm keeping certain attributes at or below 60. And there is a reason for that. The reason for that is, if you become a werewolf, you get a plus 40 bonus to strength, agility, endurance, and speed. And plus 40 is huge in this game. It is enormous. It allows you to basically steamroll through any enemies you encounter. So if we find a werewolf early on enough in the game, we're going to be taking full advantage of those bonuses. And actually, the downsides aren't really that annoying for werewolves. Werewolves kick ass in the early game. So yeah, we're going to plan around that. I did increase my personality because we have that etiquette skill that we want to take care of, and also because, you know, just getting better character reactions will make the early game a lot less annoying. So we have more points to spend towards our skills. Gonna go with Longblade, and I'm also gonna go with Blunt Weapon because we'll be using those to break open doors. Archery again. What else do we want? Let's go with Axe. And then Medical is actually fairly important because that will determine how quickly your character heals while resting, so you want to take care of that. Dodging is also huge. Jumping, swimming, climbing. Alright, I'm happy with these. And I'm going to set my reflexes to high, because as you can see from that tooltip, the higher your reflexes are, the faster your monsters move, but also I can't talk today, but also the faster you will level up. So that's pretty huge. And then this is the are you really, really, really sure of all your selections screen, and then we're going to get a cutscene. I love these cutscenes.
400 years after Tiber Septim's reign, the beginning will meet the end, and the bloody circle will close at the Empire of Tamriel. The unworthy heirs of the Septim dynasty have allowed the bonds of the Empire to weaken and crack. Uriel Septim, the Seventh, cannot repair what his ancestors ignored. The provinces fight among themselves like neglected children, drunk with rebellion. One indomitable power hides itself, but not forever.
But wait, there's more. You remember Patrick Stewart's performance as the Emperor from Oblivion? Check this fucking guy out.
Excuse the gloom. But none may know of this meeting. The nature of my trouble is darker still. Over a year ago, King Lysandus of Daggerfall died honorably on the field of battle. He was as loyal a subject, ally, and friend as you are. I did grieve for him. But his spirit does not rest. With a spectral army, he haunts his former kingdom, crying for revenge. I do not know why a good and loyal man would be so cursed. Perhaps you can find the answer and close the marble jaws of oblivion, bringing peace to his soul. I ask this as your emperor and your friend. I have one lesser request. Several years ago, I wrote a letter to the Queen of Daggerfall. It never arrived. The letter was of a sentimental and personal nature. If you find and destroy that letter, I will be grateful. Now, my champion, rest well this night, for tomorrow you sail for the kingdom of Daggerfall.
Okay, real talk. Is that not such... I know that was super cheesy, but is that performance not so much better than Patrick Stewart's performance in Oblivion? Not knocking Patrick Stewart, he's a very talented actor, but let's face it, he was not directed very well for Oblivion, whereas this guy, he used every second of his screen time. He owned it. Holy shit. Alright, anyway, I've been recording for about 15 minutes now. I don't know how much of that's going to end up in the final video, but we're going to save the actual first dungeon for the next episode. So I'll see you guys in a minute.